Hello, everyone. We are live for the regular Monday night live stream. Now, for the people who watch this later, this isn't the XYZ live stream. We'll be doing that one tomorrow. Dave couldn't make it tonight. So we've got a lovely fill-in, Dia Opina.
Oh my God, you started it.
There's no viewers yet, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, Dia Opina.
Dia Opina, el taco burrito. So yeah, this is Dia Opina, a Melbourne-based YouTuber. Welcome to the live stream, my friend. Now I got you on here because you basically begged me to come on to the live stream. So welcome for your first ever appearance on my channel. Now there's a lot riding on this. This is your audition for future gigs. So just tell us about this protest that you went to the other day.
Yeah, so I went to a protest which was hosted by Yemeni. For those who don't know, he's an Australian sort of Jewish political pundit type. And he's also part of the ALA, the Australian Liberty Alliance. And I'm subscribed, whatever the word is. I follow him on YouTube and on Facebook. And it said these invites come up. And one of the invites was that there was going to be a free Palestine. Oh, your camera's moving.
Yes, I'm moving. I'm resetting it up. I'm putting it in a better spot.
There was going to be a free Palestine rally in front of the library in the city, and so there was a counter protest that was going to go on opposite the library. So I went there with camera in tow and I started filming. I'll make a YouTube video about it eventually. So I vlogged it all, but there was all these people saying free Palestine and Israel is an apartheid state and all these sort of crazy things that made no sense to me. And then on the other side was like maybe 40 odd people on the Yemeni side, Christians and Jews and non-leftists who ended up sort of, playing the Australian national anthem and sort of trying to counter their stupidity with music and love. But yeah, Avi was very well spoken. It was a very good rally. I actually quite enjoyed it, but there was a tiny bit of fear.
Yeah, I could imagine you might be a little bit afraid of the Palestinian one, but Avi was there to save you. I do know you've got a bit of a girl crush on him.
That's so not true. I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah, we'll make sure he knows that if he's watching. Avi, she loves you.
I'm interviewing him on Wednesday, so you shouldn't say that at all. Plus, I already told you the other day that Paul Joseph Watson is my future husband. So. Oh
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're in fantasy. We've gone from realistic to fantasy land pretty quickly. So tell us more about like what actually happened at the protest. Did the Palestinian people get violent? Did they start yelling abuse at you? What was the atmosphere like?
They didn't get violent. They did start yelling abuses. Well, what happens is that these pro-Palestinian events gather a lot of different kinds of people that have ended up aligned on the same side that you would never normally see. So you see Aboriginal people, you see leftist Aboriginal people, you see a lot of Muslims, and then you see a lot of white Australian socialists, leftists. And all of them are together and they're all married to the same cause. And they're all really, some of them were fine and friendly and some of them were not. Some of them were incredibly stupid. So I had a guy standing next to me and he gives me this Victorian Socialists pamphlet. And I'm like, I already got one before. And he goes, oh, did you sign? I said, no, I didn't sign the petition. And he goes, oh, why not? I said, oh, I'm just here to observe. And then he goes, how'd you find out about today? I said, through Yemeni. And then he goes, what? He goes, what was that? I said, through Yemeni. And then he stared at me for a moment and he goes, so... like he was like stunned, like, and he goes, so are you against violence towards people? I'm like, of course. I said, I don't think murder should be happening on either side. And then he goes, oh, okay. And then he walked away. It was like it's like he was talking to an alien. It's like I was an alien. Like his reaction to me was like ET. It was weird. It was very strange. But aside from him, most people were actually very aggressive. A Muslim lady came towards me and she tripped and she fell and I held her up and I picked her back up. And she just walked off. She didn't say thank you. She just walked away and I was like, oh, are you okay? And she just walked the other way and I was like, whoa, lady, like you say thank you for helping me. You say something. Like I don't know. It was just really weird. I don't operate like that, and I don't know.
I guess a lot of them are, I don't know, maybe not quite on the same level as you, both culturally and politically. So you see, a lot of the views that come out of the left, they tend to be quite feral. I mean, I wasn't there, but it would have been good if there was maybe some footage put up online and all that kind of thing. But it would have been fun to actually go and watch it.
Avi Yemeni actually posted it live on his Facebook, which I know you deleted. I don't know if it's going. I think it's on his channel, on his YouTube channel as well. But I will make a video on it, and you'll see sort of how feral they got. But when I was on their side, it was like I wasn't in Australia. There was all this Islamic music playing, which didn't bother me. I actually don't mind the music. I think it's pretty. But what bothered me was the fact that they were saying, bring them home, like Australia is somehow the Palestinian people's home. And they were saying that that it is their land and there was an Aboriginal woman there speaking on behalf, which I was thinking in my head, how do those two align? The Aboriginals in the analogy would be the Israelis. So why is this Aboriginal woman speaking on behalf of the Palestinians, and it should be the natives on each side? It should be Aboriginals equates to Israelis. They are the natives to the land. The cognitive dissonance, it was just astounding to me. None of it made sense. The Israelis are the natives to the land, even if you go against the Bible and you just look archaeologically. It was just they're so dumb. Like it just made no sense.
It makes perfect sense when you look at it from a Marxist oppressor versus oppressed standpoint. And this is how the left view pretty much every political issue that they get into. And it's their modus operandi. It's been their MO for the last 200 years almost, ever since Karl Marx wrote down all that nonsense about the bourgeoisie and the oppressed classes and the working classes and the rich and all that kind of nonsense. It's all about there's an oppressor class and then there's an oppressed class, and the way to fix everything in the world is to bring the oppressor class down and bring the oppressed class up. It's that really shallow, binary, low agency political opinion that they've all sort of been sucked into, because it's a very tempting ideology to fall into. And then there's that, obviously. This is with the leftists, and then you've got the Islamic side, where a lot of them are actually taught to hate Jews, which is really bad. And I mean, we shouldn't go. I don't really want to go into it too much now, because it's a topic for another day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's what they're taught. And the thing is, it's like you've got the left, and then you've got the other protesters, like the pro-Palestinian protesters, who might actually be from the area or whatever, and they're sort of in this unholy alliance of destruction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they all want to bring down what's good about the West. They want to bring down Western civilization, Western capitalism, and that's ultimately the goal. So once you look at it through that prism, it actually makes perfect sense that they would be on the same side. And you make a point. It's like, oh well, the Israelis should be the natives, and Aboriginals should be on their side. But no, the Aboriginal activists are also communists. So of course they're going to be on the side of Palestine, because
not everyone. Everyone watching, obviously not all Aboriginals are on that side.
I did say Aboriginal activists. It's annoying again. I think we spoke about this on the live stream we did together on your channel.
Yes, that was a great video.
I thought it was good fun. I'm
a fun girl.
Yeah, I carried it completely.
Fair enough. I'll let you.
Yeah, it was. I would say I'm a fun guy, but I don't want to make mushroom jokes at the moment. Get it?
Is that a drug?
No, fungi. It's just straight
fungi.
over.
Sorry. Okay, yeah.
You said you were straight over your head. Sorry, audience. That was a terrible dad joke there, and she didn't get it. But no. I actually don't apologize for that joke. I'll double down on it. There's nothing like a good pun.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean that's interesting that you. That's interesting. Like, it's an interesting experience that you got. I see. I've never actually been up close and personal with a protest of that kind. I didn't actually get the invite. When was it again? On
our group chat.
Oh, I wouldn't have seen it. Like, sometimes I just don't log onto Twitter for a little while.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But
when was the actual protest? Out of interest, I can't actually remember. It was Saturday.
Saturday, 2 p.m.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I was working. I worked basically.
Oh, actually, no. You said that in the group chat. Now that I recall.
Oh, did I? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but it was a foreign experience, but it was a good one, and I think I might go to more. I think they make for interesting YouTube content, and they also just make for you feeling like you're really getting back, trying to get the right message out there. Pro-Israel.
Well, the thing is, like, with my position on Israel, I really developed ever since I saw the PragerU video on it. I mean, I was always generally in favor of Israel having their own state.
Of course.
And that's the thing. The thing is, like, if you're in favor of Israel having their own state, it really means you're on Israel's side, even if you support the Palestinian right to have a state, because the people on the Palestinian syou do not support the right of Israel
in any sense
to exist.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. And this is why, if you are going to be a reasonable individual about it, then you sort of have to fall on the side of Israel, because if Israel, if the Palestinians were to get their own way, then it would be genocide. But if the Israelis were to get their own way, then Palestine would have a state, which I thought was what they wanted. It's just that Palestine, the borders would be would be less than what they were, I believe, in 1967. Which was land conquered after Palestine invaded them. So there's a few other issues with settlements and all that kind of thing, which I don't really want to go into the nitty gritty of it.
No. That's definitely kind of another video for another time.
Yeah, we can do that on your channel when you get your community strike rescinded. Because opening the can of worms that is Israel and Palestine, I mean, I'll skim it on the bare surface, but it's not something that I really want to go into just yet.
Fair enough. Something that I love getting into on my channel. It's definitely
I know I've noticed that.
Yeah, common theme: Israel, abortion, immigration.
Yeah, all those fun. Fun
subjects.
The fun, controversial subjects.
Feminism.
Are you pro or anti-feminist?
I wonder.
Actually, I'm doing a video right now. I wrote it up today. Yeah, I know that. You didn't. Thanks for telling us.
But the audience doesn't. Like, I could be a feminist that wants to reclaim the word back. There are conservatives that are trying to do that.
Yes, you're too. I was going to say you're too pretty to be a feminist, but your head's big enough already, so I won't say that. I'm
not, but thank you.
I'm actually making a video on feminism. It's how to be a feminist. I think people are going to enjoy it.
I hate you. I'm literally working on that right now myself. But ours is probably going to be not a slightly different title. But yeah, that's hilarious.
What's your actual title?
How to look like a genuine feminist.
Oh, how to look like it. Okay, yeah. Mine's gonna be quite different.
So I've got to make myself as hideous as I can, get dreadlocks, you know.
So basically just 9 a.m.?
Yeah, wear a pair of white shorts and, you know, color the vaginal area red, free bleeding, all that kind of cool stuff that feminists love.
Amazing. Well, if it's good enough, I'll consider sharing it. So moving on to the next topic. I mean, this is another topic that I really wanted to sort of delve into. Mm-hmm. And that is, you mentioned that you lost one of your friends due to political opinions. I mean, give us a rundown without giving too many personal details.
It's an assumption it's what I've deduced. That's what I think has happened. But
it's the first time. Is this the first time it's actually happened to you where you've lost a friend due to political opinions, or?
It's the second time, but it's the first time that it's a proper close friend. I've lost people that I used to work with who are very pro-Hillary and all that kind of stuff. I have lost them, but I didn't care. But this girl is someone who, I wonder if she's on my wall. No, she's not. This girl is someone who was pretty normal, and then slowly has become very liberal looking. Like, she has the dreadlocks now. She has the armpit.
Oh, the armpit hair. That's just.
She really does. She's got tattoos, long dreads. She's got piercings everywhere, and her Instagram is full of photos and long rants saying, if you are trans, I'm for trans visibility. I hear you. I feel you. I see you. Things like that. She's hashtag feminists. Like, she does all these things. And I haven't actually spoken to her in quite a while because, and this is not because I don't like her. The reason I hadn't spoken to her in a while was because I am the friend, usually in any circumstance, most people will tell you this, that goes out of her way to text. I'll text my friends and be like, hey, what's going on? Or I'll call them while I'm driving home with Bluetooth. So I got sick of being the one always phone calling and going out of my way. It was always an effort on my end. So I thought, well, let's wait for them to finally do it back to me. And it just never happened. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do it. I was being really stubborn. And eventually I could tell that my views really got to her. They did. And she ended up deleting me off every single social media platform. But I haven't deleted her off. Like, she's not following me on Instagram, but I'm still following her because I'm not that petty. I don't care.
That's the thing about the
left. I'm not petty.
I wouldn't be worried too much about it. I mean, how long have you known? You've probably known her a few years, yeah?
About 6.
Yeah. So I mean, that's quite a long friendship to lose touch with someone.
Yeah, but for some reason I'm not that cut up about it.
Yeah, it's the thing about these kind of people is, well, you can't hate them because they're setting themselves into their own little pit of hell. Yeah. And I mean, this is what you've got to understand about these leftists. They are ultimately in hell, where they are. What I actually believe they are in the literal definition of where hell is. I mean, imagine.
Wait, what about the lake of fire? What about the lake of fire? That's what we were promised to these people in the beginning.
The lake of fire. It's just a little bit more figurative than that, I believe.
Yeah.
Think about the life that they're living right now. How
well, she's living a good life.
Must it be? How stressful must it be? She's married. Well, see, that's interesting that she's married with a kid. You feel sorry for the kid, but even Clementine Ford's married with a kid, and don't you just feel sorry for that kid? It's a male child as well.
Oh, that child's going to be pussy whipped his whole life.
Maybe it will rebel. Maybe Hopefully. It'll actually get a dose of testosterone from its mother.
Yeah.
And rebel and actually become a real man. It's and true. Just talk about, like, he'll write a book one day saying what's it like growing up with a disgusting pig of a mother.
Yeah. Milo Yiannopoulos made the best jokes about her when she was down here. He was so good, and I'm like, I mean, he was a bit too cruel, but he was pretty awesome. You
can't be too cruel to Clementine Ford. Have you read her articles?
No,
have you heard the things she said?
I know that she's foul, and I know she's foul.
You can't be. The woman is vile, like genuinely vile in her writing. I mean, I did one response video about her. It's on my channel.
Oh, why haven't I seen that?
It's Clementine Ford doesn't like Dean from Married at First Sight. And she just sort of rips into him and talks about how masculinity is the same as being a sexual abuser and a rapist, like just for being a man.
Yes, I think Milo mentioned this at the speech that I went to.
Okay, He didn't mention that in the one that I read. I think because I did the video after he actually came out.
Did you go see Milo in?
Yeah.
He didn't mention her. He didn't mention her her articles, or he didn't touch on them.
Not this specific one, but he did mention her. He's the one that brought out the, this is how you speak. This is Clementine Ford, or in her language.
God bless Milo.
Oh, it's the funniest thing. I made a little Clementine Ford character with like her face on the end of a cartoon pig.
Oh, that's the best. I love your shit. I love your shit. So
because she wrote that article, and then the other day, like after the shooting in Portland, she wrote an article about how it's always white men who are the shooters. It's always white men. It's always white men.
That's not even true.
It's not even true, and it didn't take me very long to prove that it wasn't true.
Yeah, of course.
And go
not.
say it's not true, and this is why it's not true. It's like I think it's actually. I can't remember the exact states, but I know that white men are actually underrepresented on a per capita basis, I believe. I mean, once you take, obviously men
people
are
don't understand average.
Yeah, that's right. They don't say, oh, well, white men are the most of them, but yeah, white men are the majority. And like on a per capita basis, like controlling for males, it is lower. But then she goes, in her mind, it's like, oh, well, males always do it, therefore males are the bad guys, and it's I read this article.
Sorry.
So I've read this article, and it's like you said, oh, you shouldn't be mean to her, but no, you can be mean to Clementine Ford. She completely deserves it, and
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton's just you just got to feel sorry for the lady now. You got to feel sad for her, but it's good. Like I'm glad she's destroying the Democratic Party. Just everything.
Jesus.
Yeah. Every word she says is destroying the Democratic Party. It's fantastic.
Good.
So, you said you've lost two friends from your.
One was a co-worker. Yeah. So obviously, I'm very much a conservative. I'm very much pro-Trump. Doesn't mean I'm pro-Trump specifically. During the preliminaries, he wasn't the one I was actually going for. During the preliminaries, I was for Dr. Ben Carson. In case you don't know who that is, he's the only black one.
Yeah, I know Dr. Ben Carson.
Okay, just in case. All right. Well, to the viewers, and Carly Fiorina. For people who don't know, she was the only female. And the reason I like Carly Fiorina was because she was a secretary. She started from nothing and worked her way up the ranks of Hewlett-Packard, the printer company, and ended up becoming what she became. She overcame cancer. She's a born-again Christian. So all of her ideals, she's pro-life. All of her ideals very much matched mine, and I thought she would have been fantastic. And I really liked Dr. Ben Carson for the very same reasons, for coming from such humble beginnings. But we got Trump. So obviously Trump's ideals still match mine. And he's got this sort of cool assholeness that Milo Yiannopoulos has. So at the same time, I was still kind of happy when he won. And people couldn't understand it. And I ended up losing, I don't know what the word, like losing people just when I explained, well, Trump this and Trump that and Hillary this and Hillary that. But at the time it was fighting. It was, well, Hillary did this bad thing and Trump's been divorced 3 times. And then it wasn't based on policy. Whereas now I don't do that. I'm a little bit better at structuring and formulating my arguments. And
wow, this is better, is it?
I think it's better. I think it's better to attack a person on their policies rather than on their past morals. Yes, because you want to make sure that what the person says and everything he has said, for the most part, all of the promises he has kept, minus the wall. He hasn't done the wall, and he shouldn't be messing with Syria. He's gone against a lot. So he's done a couple of things he shouldn't have done. But yeah. So being a Christian and being pro-Trump is not a particularly good recipe in today's day and age. But because we keep winning, it might get better. And then being a Christian and being pro-Trump might not be that bad anymore.
See, you say that like you almost believe it. So I don't believe that being Christian, conservative, and pro-Trump are bad things.
But they are in a leftist mentality.
In the leftist mentality, but you just can't get sucked into that mentality at all. Like you can't let them control your emotions and dominate the. I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase
consciousness?
it. Sort of, but like the narrative. You can't let them dominate the narrative of your life. And like you can't ever apologize for the views that you have ever. Like if they get offended by it or if they don't like it.
For them, but I do accept that it's not a good thing to be a conservative or pro-Trump or pro whoever would have won.
It's harder in some ways, but at the same time, it's like Paul Joseph Watson, you're the guy you're stalking.
My future husband.
future husband. He just doesn't know about it yet.
It would have been him, but I couldn't turn him, so.
Yeah. Good luck with that one. So what he said was that, you know, he made that video being conservative is the new counterculture. And what he means by conservatism is obviously like new libertarianism, like just new libertarianism, new conservatism, that new sort of pro-liberty move, the new pro-liberty movement that's really emerging online, especially out of YouTube. What, like, being that in that sort of group now is the new counterculture. It's the new punk rock. It's so much cooler than being a leftist, and it's not even close. So yeah, you might get people, you know, you get the tut, you know, they'll clutch their pearls and be like, oh, how could you believe such a crazy thing? And you hear it on the radio. I mean, I listen to Triple M every other day, and their politics. I like Triple M. I like the music. I like the music, and their footy commentary is excellent, and their cricket commentary is great. But the thing is, when they get into the politics, it's just like, oh, just get off the politics, guys. Get back to the music and the comedy, please.
I know. I really hate it when celebrities attempt politics. They're so dumb.
Yeah, they don't understand what they're talking about. They're not informed on the issues.
Meryl Streep has to shut the hell up, and so does Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck,
Mark Ruffalo, Meryl Streep, Lena Dunham, Amy Schumer have to shut up.
Well, I don't think they're going to.
No.
And I mean, look,
Jennifer Lawrence.
It's still the same virtue signaling Hollywood leftists. So this is like they're the dominant culture right now, in that they have the biggest microphones and they have the money and they have the cameras, but they're on the way down, and it's all about the trajectory. And I don't think they're going to be able to they're not going to be able to regain that trajectory anytime soon, because
it didn't work, did it?
They've lost touch with what, like, they've lost touch with normal people in a lot of ways.
They absolutely have.
They're sort of relying. I mean, so we're going to talk about that article. That Jack Dorsey CEO article. Did you end up reading that?
Yes. The
full article. Okay, good. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But so bringing it back to Australia and just sort of everyday life.
I just want to quickly add then, hold your thought, is that whatever the celebrities are trying to do, it's not working, because if it had been working, Hillary would have been president, and she had every celebrity backing her. So celebrity in general is completely losing its power, and I'm very thankful for that. All right.
Well, yeah, they're all insane. They keep trying to do the same thing over and over and thinking it's going to.
Isn't that the definition of insane? Isn't there an analogy?
It's one of them.
Yeah.
It's one of the definitions of insanity that's out there. But yeah, so bringing it back to everyday life. Look, you'd be surprised how many people agree with the conservative side right now. I would imagine even people that don't traditionally vote for conservative parties would almost lean in a lot of ways towards the new libertarian, like the classically liberal libertarian conservative pro-liberty view.
Definitely,
because it's a view that resonates with people. You know, that view of self-responsibility, self-determination, rights being ordained on you by God, the universe, and just by being alive. I mean, this is, you know, rather than being ordained on you by government. I mean, this is an idea that resonates with people, and the people it doesn't resonate with, i.e., the hard socialist left, the Socialist Alliance, the people that you saw at the protest.
Yeah,
I mean, these kind of people, like I said, they're in hell. Like they're so closed off, and hell is a place you don't know that you're in hell when you're in hell, and that's what they are. Like, can you imagine how toxic it would be to be around them? So yeah, look, you might bring it up. I mean, I'm not working in an office right now. It'd be interesting to see what an office environment was like these days. But I can certainly, in the work I go into, the work I'm in, I meet a lot of people, and obviously I don't talk politics and culture and all that kind of thing with everyone, but the people I do talk about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fine. You've really got to pick your target. You got to pick your target, because you got to be very careful about, because if you pick the wrong person, I mean, this is a story I've spoken about this on my live streams before, where I had customers, and it was a couple of girls, and I just told them that I believe that freedom of speech is a God-given right. It's an innate right, and no one has the right to take away your God-given rights to freedom of speech. And they're like, oh, well, what if you offend someone? You shouldn't be able to speak. I was like, no. You have the right to offend anyone. You have the right to speak whatever, any opinion that you like, no matter how offensive.
Absolutely.
And they got really upset about it, and they made a complaint.
Oh my God.
And here's the thing, like, I was told about the complaint, and like I said, I would never, ever apologize.
Yeah.
I laughed, but then I've emailed back, and I'm just like just giving it to him. Like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. How can you do that? Never apologize, always double down. It's like, I can't believe that someone would complain about that. This is insulting. They're threatening my livelihood. And I never heard from it again. But it's like, this is the kind of thing, like, when you do get confronted with people that are like that, the answer is not to apologize and just double down, which is interesting. Like, there's something in the media right now. I didn't brief you on this one. I'm hoping you've sort of kept up to speed, and that's the Israel Folau in that chat where he said that he thinks that gay people are going to hell. Now, I don't personally believe that gay people are going to hell. I mean, because I'm a fan of Milo Yiannopoulos.
As am I, but I mean, you have to sort of. I'm not saying this. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. I don't think they're going to hell, but biblically speaking, it's there. It's set in stone.
Well, it says it in the Bible, and he quoted the Bible passage, and here's a Folau. And I mean, rather than getting in the opinions on what, or, whether we agree or not with him,
I love Milo.
So rather than get into the opinion of that, it's what's happened is now the Qantas CEO, Alan Joyce, I believe his name is, come out and said, well, we're gonna consider taking our sponsorship away from Rugby Australia unless he apologizes and all that kind of thing. And you're just like, you just shake your head. I mean, that is Alan Joyce's, I hope I'm getting your name right, the CEO of Qantas. I should, because I read the article today, so I should remember that. But the CEO of Qantas, he should know better than that. And that kind of behavior, him coming out and threatening to pull sponsorships over the opinions of a guy who he's expressing his religious opinion. He's entitled to his opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's Qantas's money, it's Qantas's shareholders, but the thing is, that kind of action, I mean, you can't stop them from doing that, but what you can do is call out that behavior from that CEO and point out just how bad it is for him to say that. He should not be entering that realm. That's not he should not be doing that. He's the Qantas CEO. He should be focusing on making sure the planes are safe and they run on time. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. People who watch rugby don't care about Israel Folau's political views. They care whether he scores tries and makes tackles. That's all they care about. He's not entering the world of politics. He's not attacking the nation. He's not attacking Anzacs. He's not attacking some sacred cow.
Yeah.
He's just expressing a view that may or may not be offensive to some people, and he's actually repeating something that's in the Bible, which is his, and he is a Christian. Therefore, he has the right to say that kind of thing, and for them to come out and say, "Oh, well, we're going to pull sponsorships because of this." Like, would they be pulling sponsorships if it was an Islamic player who came out and said something similar? Of course they wouldn't. They would never, ever even consider doing the same thing. So it's just that abject hypocrisy that it's completely against the principle and the culture of freedom of speech. So, for him to do that was my biggest issue. But going back to what I was saying before, it's all about, you never apologize, and I'll be really disappointed with Israel if he doesn't come out and apologize. He should not apologize. He should not apologize. He really, truly, he should just turn around and tell Alan Joyce off for what he did. He should turn around and say, "Well, mate, it's my political opinion. Shut up and get back to running the planes." But here's the thing: he's in a different situation. He's in a different situation where he's sort of answering to Rugby Australia, but still, I mean, I'm not a huge rugby fan, but as far as I know, he's a star. So it's not like they're going to drop him over a political view. I mean, that would be ridiculous. But anyway, so that's this is that culture of free speech, and this is sort of what I want to. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that we need to be bringing up and discussing.
Do you know who Stephen Crowder is?
What do you mean, do I know who Stephen Crowder is?
Well, some people don't know who he is and some people do.
Yeah, what a ridiculous question.
Stephen Crowder is my king. Anyway, Stephen Crowder is how I came to know everyone else. So through Stephen Crowder, I came to know Milo Yiannopoulos, Steve Rubin, all these different people. So Stephen Crowder was my first YouTube sub source for everything.
He was your gateway drug.
Yes, he's amazing. I love Stephen Crowder. See, I love so many YouTubers.
Yeah, he's good. He's really funny. He's really. I was gonna say, like, you're fresh out of luck on that one.
Just being a dickhead. But anyway, so the reason I mentioned is because he did exactly what you just said about, well, if it was a Christian, what if it was a Muslim? So when the Christian said, I'm not comfortable baking you a gay wedding cake, it became a big thing. Then, so Stephen Crowder has a camera following him, and he goes to Muslim bakeries, and he sort of says the same thing. And every single one of them said, no, we can't do that. And where's the outrage? Come on, leftists. Come on, leftists.
I saw that video, and it was like, well, obviously they're not going to get outraged about that.
No, it's okay for Muslims to hate gays. Yeah,
they're all vapid hypocrites.
Yeah,
and that's what. And
there's no thought. There's no thought consistency. There's no philosophical consistency, and Christianity is just a really easy target. I mean, can you just imagine? I'm not saying that Mormons are the same as Christianity. They're not. They're completely separate. But can you just imagine a musical called The Book of Islam?
Yeah,
it'll never happen.
I mean, good luck. I can imagine if they made one about it, it would be probably very, very funny. and
everyone there would be dead on opening night.
You shouldn't joke about that. I mean,
I'm not trying to joke. I'm trying to be honest. I'm not wrong.
Sorry, there's just someone just entered the chat. I'm just gonna mention something like
there's a few people in the chat, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few people in the chat. But this JB Jameson guy, I know him in real
life.
He's just he's trolling very, very hard.
Why do you losers care about gay people? Because gay people are beautiful humans and they deserve Christ's salvation. You're gay. I love gay people. I love gay people like Milo. They're the best.
For anyone who's watching this later on, then I just called my mate. I just said my mate. I called him. I said you're gay to him.
They probably got that with my saying you're gay. I kind of screamed it out.
I don't know. I don't know how this live streaming works. I've only been doing it for a couple of months.
Yeah, well, at least you can live stream. I can't live stream for 3 months.
That'll learn you for putting dead bodies on a YouTube video, won't it?
Well, people need I believe in graphic imagery. Graphic imagery is what makes your heart change.
Look, I think...
And why South African farmers and children and women and babies are being cut up and mutilated, and I thought it was important for people to see.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I understand your argument. I do agree with you. I do agree with you in that it shouldn't be censored, but at the same time, it's like... you should put like warnings at the front. This is going to be graphic images. What YouTube really need?
I did in the end.
What YouTube really need? They need a label so you can mark it for 18 plus.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it's like obviously they don't want porn, like you don't want porn on YouTube, obviously, but for things like graphic violence and all that kind of stuff, if it's dead bodies, then an 18 plus marker would actually make it a little bit better that way, because I mean they've got restricted mode already, so you can have videos restricted,
but you can't personally do it.
But you can set it, you can make it restricted, but the problem with restricted is it's for 6+. So, but you should be able to do it for 18+. I don't think you can, but you can on other sites. You can actually change it to 18+.
Well, I want to add that my video was up for about a month, and it got over 1,500 views, 1,500 views. My most successful video in a long time got viewed and shared, and 85 comments. And then it was one of the commenters that I triggered with my responses that flagged it, and that's what got it taken down. YouTube didn't seem to care up until that person flagged my video. And the reason it got flagged was because they were saying, Dia is an effing racist. You're a racist. You're so stupid. The fact that you can't see your own bigotry. And I'm like, whoa, you're calling me a racist because I think that white people can be targets of racism as well as black people. Think I'm the one being thought consistent. And then I wrote back to that person saying, well, anyway, God bless you. Love you. Kiss, hug, kiss. Literally, that's what I wrote.
Just ignore them.
I will next time. I have to ignore them, otherwise they'll keep winning and they'll keep cutting me off at the source. But the point is that my response, which was so sarcastically loving and God bless you and kiss, hi, kiss, and I love you, really triggered them so much that got, so me being kind to them made them flag my video.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like,
because I was being smart.
I get comments like that on my channel fairly regularly, especially with this latest video about South Africa.
But you don't respond.
Yeah, I don't respond. It's got like 200 comments on it, but
yeah.
You know, I've gone through and, you know, if it's, you know, you get the usual, you're, you know, there's been people that are really abusive, like really, truly abusive.
They
and you're
want
like,
you to die.
Hey, that's horrible, these things. But they just ignore it. Sometimes, I mean, I've never actually reported anyone for threatening violence. Actually, no, I reported, someone once said a while ago that they wanted to torture me to death. They were fantasizing about it on one of my videos. Wow. So I reported that comment.
I've had a similar fantasy.
But that's the only time I've ever done it. Like, because I mean, threats of violence are just a little bit too much. But there, you get some pretty crazy commenters, and you just got to ignore them, or you can even hide them from the channel sometimes. But I don't usually do that because it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Let them get it off their chest, and let people have a bit of fun. If someone else wants to read the comments and have a bit of a laugh, and like, who am I to take away someone else's fun?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know I like to respond to people who make comments like that on other people's content and get into crap fights and tweet fights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I won't respond next time because I definitely triggered them, and I won't now.
Yeah, but no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't engage. Never engage with leftists who are abusing you on your channel.
I won't. Yeah.
Ever.
Strong lesson learned. 3 months later, strong lesson learned.
Yeah, but also, I mean, don't put graphic, dead bodies on your YouTube videos.
No, of course. I stuffed up. That was my fault.
I mean, I try really, really hard to follow the community guidelines. Like, I never incite violence because I don't believe in it.
Of course.
I mean,
But that's up for that's up for a different.
And my views, I don't think my views are anywhere near edgy enough to break the community guidelines. I mean, copyright, you got to be, you just acknowledge everything that you can. You acknowledge everything that you can. I mean, most things are fair use anyway. Like if you're using, I'm pretty sure if you're using little snippets of clips, then it's fair use. If it's like built into something else, like you can do compilations and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty sure that's fair use. But the other ones, it's fine. So I really try hard to follow community guidelines, but it's like, they are quite vague. Anyway, like let's move on to the article. So the article itself, I mean, it was a terrible article, but the fact is, Jack Dorsey, the CEO of one of the world's biggest social media companies, shared it and endorsed it as well and said, this is an interesting read. And I read this article, and I know you did as well, and it was just horrendous. Like this article, for anyone who's watching who hasn't read it, it's an article about how they basically saying they want a one-party state for all of America, and they want it to be the Democrats. And they were using California.
How surprising.
Well, they were using California as their example as to what they were using California as their example as to why they should do it, because apparently California is great, and one of the things they said, we're paying off the debt of California, which is a claim which is demonstrably untrue, and anyone with an internet connection can see that California is still deep in debt and has a massive deficit still. So it's not like any of the claims in it could be verified, or they were all clearly untrue.
Yeah,
and then he even talks about, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the Republican president, but he caved into the Democrats, and it was great. I mean, Republican president, he was a Republican in name only, so he was a complete rhino. And he
didn't do much.
Oh, well, he did a whole lot of big spending bills, and he spent on this, he spent on that. It was just basically a Democrat in disguise. So it's not like he was, I don't know why they'd even bring that article up, but it was really, bring that example up in the article. But he was, this article itself was just horrible. was one of the worst articles I've read in a long time. That was trying to pass off as a neutral, objective analysis.
It really wasn't. Yeah, this is just a portion that I screenshot because I thought it was a very good piece.
Go on, read it out, and give us your comment.
Second, the whole post, which was written by Rutik and Peter Layden on Medium, is what you'd expect from the coastal elite. They say the tax bill is not popular. It is. Even BET's founder said the bill has helped bring back workers, black workers back into the workforce. Over 250 companies have doled out bonuses to their workers. Over 3 million workers have benefited from the legislation. So, sorry, that's pretty much going against everything that the initial part of the article. Did you read that bit?
Which part are you talking about?
This is the lower part of the article where the guy is sort of giving his analysis. Sorry for the people in the audience. It's quite a long article. I did just link it. It's a very long. Yeah, it's very long. Oh yeah, link it to them. That's easier.
Yeah, so I just linked it in. I linked it in, and I'll put it in the description. As well, actually.
Yeah.
I might actually put that into the description too. But yeah, the fact is the article.
Because it's like basically they're wanting one side, Republicans, to fight against. It's like they're calling for civil war. That's sort of how it was posited on Twitter.
Yeah, it was, and
it's like the Yankees versus the. It's just what, because of a different ideology we have to fight. That's so stupid. It's like a subtle call for genocide.
Well, not quite. It wasn't quite on that extreme, but it was.
I'm trying to find it.
Yeah. Sorry, people in the audience. I've put it. Yeah, it's
Kitty.
That's wonderful, Dia. So I'll link to it later. If people want to send me a tweet later on as well, I can send it. I'll link it again on my Twitter. So my social media account, my social media should be in the description.
It is.
If you want to go to my Twitter account, I'm gonna relinking.
Look how it looks, just for the people there. Did Twitter's CEO just call for a civil war? So people sort of have an idea of what we're talking about. Can that be seen?
Yeah. So I just linked it. I linked to it on my Twitter account. And so if you want to go to my Twitter, you should follow me at Maddie's Modern Life. The link is in there. Link in the description. So go check it out when you can.
Townhall.com, everyone.
Well, it's on medium.com.
Oh, well, then you sent me the wrong link. Yeah.
No, I didn't. I sent you a link. Oh, so you must have read the response to it.
Yeah, that's what I read, and that's what I was quoting before.
Okay, cool.
So what I was quoting was the fact that black unemployment has been down for years. So I was responding to that portion of the channel. I didn't read the original one, unfortunately.
Okay, so that was.
Send me that.
Sorry, that was my mistake. I should have actually. I should have told you to read the actual original article and link that to you.
Yes, you should.
The original article itself. The original article was basically the Great Lesson of California. It was called The Great Lesson of California by a guy called Peter Layden, who is a founder and CEO of Reinvent, a media company that I've never actually heard of.
Neither.
I mean, so he's just saying that, talking about how the USA is currently basically going through another civil war, in that, it's a similar civil war to what it went through in the 1850s, where shots were fired, and then the 1930s. And what he's essentially saying is that America needs another one of these civil wars so that one party can go away for 2 generations. And he's talking about how California leads the way and how California should be the example of what we want. They're a progressive. They believe in climate change, and they they believe in all this kind of stuff.
Because climate change is progressive, but but human biology isn't. So gender and sex is Let's deny science there.
Yeah, of course. And what the article obviously ignores are the demographics of California and how the demographics of California has changed so dramatically over the last few years, and how much of a disaster that state actually is. How how high in debt, how crime-ridden it is, how businesses are fleeing out because it is so bad. And he's like, well, this is the example. This is what we want. This is great. It's just sort of like living in. I didn't do any research on the guy, but I would imagine he's probably living in a nice area and doesn't actually, probably doesn't read outside of his leftist bubble. So he thinks that California is doing a lot better than it actually is. I mean, the guy thought that California was actually paying down its debt. It's obviously not. The thing is, it's like this article, as you mentioned, it's sort of promoting the idea of a civil war, like saying that, yes, we want a civil war. We want the civil war to wipe out conservatives and wipe out Republicans so that we can have a progressive democratic USA. To which I would say, good luck with that. Really good luck with that. It's not going to happen.
The Republicans are the ones that have the guns. So what the hell are the Democrats going to do?
Well, I mean, he did say that it would be preferable to not have a shot fired, which obviously would be preferable, which would be much preferable, and you'd want any kind of radical change in the country to happen without any violence.
Absolutely.
The thing is, I don't see it happening that to the level that he spoke about without violence because of just how much of a disaster the California has actually been. And he's using California as the example of how this is going to be great and we're going to do this to the rest of the country and this is what we need, and we just need to get all these conservatives out of the way because, you get the conservatives out of the way.
We're so toxic. We can do this. We're so toxic.
Well, you're toxic, actually.
You're toxic. I'm slipping under. Britney Spears. What's that face? Anyway.
Sorry, audience. She goes on tangents.
Yeah,
she goes off on tangents and she likes to interrupt every now and then.
Singing.
She loves to sing. El Dia Opina, which is the opinion of the day in Spanish.
El Dia Opina, that's me.
Yes.
I'm the opinion of the day.
And she's from Colombia, or half Colombian, I believe.
Half Colombian, half Spanish.
Half Colombian, half Spanish. And the people who know me know that I've had experience with Colombian people or Colombian women, and so I know what to expect. I'm wiser with age.
Did they all do cocaine?
No. No, they didn't.
Neither do I.
Yes. Okay, that's a good thing.
Funny how the stereotype doesn't fit.
Well, funny how you fit the annoying Latina stereotype.
You said I keep interrupting you. I don't. You have to give me time to respond to you. You're the one that gave me the wrong link. It's a professional operation you're running here.
It's all right. I mean, you sort of understand the point, right?
No, definitely. I just don't understand the stupidity of these people, and it really baffles me.
Well, the fact that Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, is endorsing this article is not a good sign at all, and it tells you where they want to go in terms of censorship.
But him, Mark Zuckerberg. Sorry, I did interrupt you there.
Well, look at what Zuckerberg's doing to Facebook, which is another topic that we should really talk about. In that, I mean, this data scandal. Apparently, it's now pretty much every user of Facebook has had their data scraped by one third party or another.
Oh, really?
I deleted my Facebook. I've deleted my Facebook completely. I deleted it. I don't know if it's completely gone. I think it's just deactivated right now, and maybe it'll get deleted within the next week. But I did tell them to delete it.
So what does that mean? Explain the specifics of. So what does it matter if they acquire some of my photos? Like, what kind of data? Or is it your statuses, like that you're a conservative, that they're acquiring?
Well, they're actually taking a lot of your data, like your browse, like the pages that you like, what you click like on, what you respond to.
Yeah, but it's like when you have
age.
It's like when you have a mobile phone. Your mobile phone somehow starts to adapt itself to you. Wouldn't it be the same with Facebook? Like, wouldn't it suggest, oh, you like Stephen Crowder, you might also like Paul Joseph Watson? Like, isn't that a normal computer algorithm? Not that I'm defending Facebook, but like,
if they're selling it to third parties, it's probably the best thing. I mean, here's the thing: everyone sort of knew what Facebook were doing, but it was when that Cambridge Analytica was found out to be on selling all the data. This is something that they shouldn't be doing. And when you talk about the phone companies, yes, they have all your private information, but they are not allowed to sell that information to anyone due to privacy laws. They're not allowed to give away any of your personal information like name, date of birth, address, all that kind of stuff without your express consent. You have to get privacy consent to do that in Australia. I don't know about other countries. I'm pretty sure America's the same, England's the same, most European countries are similar. But in Australia, in order for you to even do a credit check, you have to actually give them privacy consent. You have to say, yes, I give you, here is written consent for you to use my personal data to do a credit check. But the thing is, Facebook were taking all this private data and sort of giving it to third parties. But here's the thing. Even if you said, no, you can't take my information, you can't take that. If people on your contacts list had your number and you were sending them texts, then if they consented, then your data was going to them anyway. So I think Facebook's actually in a lot of trouble. And like they also went to hospitals to try and get medical records. Apparently, I didn't actually. This is just what I heard.
That's nuts. So I think that's true.
Yeah, so if that's true, that's borderlining genuine criminal behavior. like you can't be going to legal records. So I'm glad Facebook's dying. I hate Facebook. I've had Facebook for a while. They're so censorious, I should say. They will ban you just for having an opinion. I got banned twice. I got banned once for saying there are only 2 genders, and once for that. And I got banned again for 30 days for saying that Sadiq Khan was an enemy to the West. And Sadiq Khan is an enemy to the West. I will stand by that. I'll stand by that.
I completely agree with you.
I made 2 videos about it. I can't believe you haven't seen these videos on my channel.
I've seen one of the Sadiq Khan ones.
Really? Which one?
The older one.
The older one?
The first one that you made. I don't think I've seen the newer one.
Which is the first one that I made?
I don't really remember. I didn't share it. I didn't share all your stuff.
Well, I've only made 2 Sadiq Khan videos. I made one where I put his face on the.
I'll tell you which one it was.
I did the one where I put his face on. I did
the Count Dankula. That one I saw. That one was a bit. I couldn't believe he did that. That was awesome.
the Count Dankula one with his face. That's on BitChute.
I know, that was good. Daring.
I know. I put that. That was a BitChute exclusive. That one.
That was funny. Yes, it was.
There was the other one. The other one was where I just talked about getting banned from Facebook.
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I got banned on Facebook for 30 days for calling Sadiq Khan an enemy to the West, which he is. He's against freedom of speech. He's against freedom of speech. He's against British culture.
You should have seen him on. No, you're right. You should have seen him. Sorry for interrupting. You should have seen him on Piers Morgan. Like, what are you doing? Sometimes Piers Morgan is an idiot, but sometimes he's right on the money. It's like, what are you doing to help the UK get terrorists? Or I don't know where the ones that he had no answer. No, I don't know where they are. But Tommy Robinson, is basically trying to get there's like a secret plot to murder him, according to the interview that I saw Tommy Robinson with Brittany Pettibone. But I can't find all these terrorists. I'm not sure where they are. He's letting them in because he's weak. He's weak, and he wants the Muslims to look at him and be like, oh, this guy's on our side.
Well, yeah, I mean, I actually believe.
Sorry, I said that so poorly. I really did not articulate myself very well.
Someone in chat has just said Sadiq Khan is a Knut ? And yes, Sadiq Khan is a Knut. Definitely a Knut. CNUT. Knut.
That's safe. That's safe language.
Yeah, that was, well, I mean, I'm not monetized. The channel's not monetized, so.
Well, yeah, it won't be until you hit 4,000. Knuts. That's the best.
We actually have a very special guest in chat. I don't know if she's going to type anything, but if the fans of my videos will know my little character Neeks the pig, who makes an appearance in my videos every now and then. And the inspiration for Neeks the pig is actually in the chat at the moment. So everyone say hello to Neeks. Hi Neeks, how are you? Welcome to tuning into my chat.
Pronounced Canut.
Canut. There we go. It's pronounced Canut. Ah.
crime rates have increased under Sadiq's appointment to mayor. Well, when are they going to get rid of him? He's been there for ages, hasn't he?
Excuse me, are you reading my chats?
Yes.
On my channel?
You're not entertaining them. So. No.
I think that's a minus point there. You're sort of like here. We're
what do you mean?
Coming down a little bit.
Every time I posted a chat, like people read the comments. I didn't know that was a rule. You should have told me. You should have prefaced me on the rules before we started.
It's all right. You can.
I won't read.
You're allowed to read them, but I can.
I'll stop reading your beautiful viewers' chats.
Yeah, they're. I love my fans, and I don't want you to butcher their chats while reading them in your weird squeaky Latina voice.
I'll stop reading them.
As in Canute. So it's pronounced Canute. So I mean, what Steve's referencing there is, I believe, the meme that I made last week, which is one of my favorite memes ever. I know I made it myself, but it's like it's Sadiq Khan. You know, there's an old story of King Canute, he's an old English king. It was actually a good king, so it doesn't quite fit, which is kind of annoying. So but what King Canute did was go down. I can't remember the exact story, but he was supposedly showing people that he couldn't actually stop the tides with his hands. So he goes down to the tide. The whole story is he goes down and he tries to stop the tides with his hands, and it doesn't work. So I got a picture of King Canute, on the beach doing that, and in the water is words like hate speech and mean tweets and all this kind of stuff, and it's got Sadiq Khan's face on it. So it's like it says Sadiq Khan is a Canute.
You can't go wrong with any joke where you put someone's head on a pig or on a dog or anything like that. Just that video you made of him is like epic. I hope it like goes viral.
It'd be funny if it went viral. It's only got like 70 views, I believe, at the moment.
That's very good for BitChute.
Yeah, it's not my best one for BitChute. My best one for BitChute so far is my Clementine Ford trailer.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Have you seen that one?
No, but it's awesome that you've done well. Like, it's awesome that it's picked up what it has.
Yeah. Like, it's good to have a presence on it on alt tech. Especially when others respect free speech a little bit more than YouTube does. I mean, I still obviously I'm on YouTube more because YouTube's just more user friendly. There's more content here, and you can live stream, and I do prefer YouTube at the moment. But at the same time, I don't know how long YouTube's going to be around if they continue to censor people.
This is true, but there's DTube, which I'm trying to refunction, and because it's not working for me. And there's BitChute, and I'm sure there are other live streaming platforms, or I'm sure BitChute will come up with its own live streaming platform. It's got to.
Yep, no worries. I'm just asking chat for questions. So, any questions about any of the topics tonight, chat? Happy to answer them. I'm not
allowed to talk to you guys, so
you are allowed to talk, just not directly to my chat. I mean, you can type in my chat. You're allowed to type in the chat. That's okay.
He's such an oppressive male.
I am. This is patriarchy. This is my channel. This is Maddie's Modern Patriarchy.
That's funny. That's what you should name the channel.
Maddie's Modern Patriarchy. No, I'm starting a second channel. So for everyone who's got here late, I'm starting I've got another channel, which is going to be a kids channel, which if I ever manage to become a full-time YouTuber, which would be great, I'll be able to do kids stuff. I'll probably do one kids video a week. That's down the track. But I'm also going to set up Maddie's Modern Music, which is just, I'm going to put all my music, all the music that I make up there.
And he really wants me to duet with him. So that will be coming soon.
She wants to duet with me. Well, we can't duet. We can't actually duet because I can't sing. So the duet would be horrendous. But I can make music, and you can sing into the microphone. Again, like as with our live chats, I'd be carrying. But put the effort in as long as you're trying.
It's so arrogant. It's like a backhanded. Well, it's not even a compliment. It's just a backhanded insult.
Okay, so all these Okay, so we've got a few questions. Thoughts on the Hungarian election results? So Viktor Orban. So unfortunately, I'm not super up to speed on some of these issues. So Viktor Orban, it's
a very conservative country as it is. Anyway.
Yeah, so he's the really conservative one that's telling the EU to basically shove it up their pie holes.
A win is a win. That's a good win.
Yeah, and he just won his third election in a row or something pretty convincingly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my thoughts on that are, with what little knowledge of the country I know, it's a very, very positive thing. It's a very positive thing. It's extremely positive thing. And the thing is, it's like, actually, I saw an article the other day, or maybe it was today, where someone was talking about how far-right views are becoming mainstream, which I believe was in relation to the Hungarian election. But it's like, I always say this, but that far-right is essentially a meaningless term, other than all it means when someone says far-right is views that the left doesn't like.
It's a weak attempt of insulting us.
It's actually a really horrible slander, in that it's saying that if you're conservative, libertarian, classical liberal, all that kind of thing, you're actually the same as a Nazi, because they call Nazis far-right. They call Nazis far right, and it's like Nazis are national socialists.
Yeah.
So they are socialists.
Yeah.
Fascism is socialism, and that's a fact. And I know there's some people who comment on my channel. They probably won't be watching now, but it is a fact. Fascism, socialism is Marxism. It is communism. It's all socialism. It's all leftist. So when they say far right, it's a way of smearing people as Nazis when they're not really Nazis.
So smart, Maddie.
But yeah. Thanks so much. You're just trying to suck up now, aren't you? You just want to get on one of my albums, that's all. So when the album goes viral, she's like, look, I'm Latina.
You should do a collaboration with Queer Kids stuff.
Yeah, why not?
Hi, Teddy.
Hi. Actually, I saw Bearing's video on that today.
We love your Bearing. Yes.
Yeah, it's good. So, I mean, back to this article, this person said, back to
the article.
It's interesting. No, not the article. I mean the question, I should say. Oh. Yeah, I was talking about the far right thing.
Oh, yes.
What it ultimately means, like, because, when they say that, they're lamenting the fact that these views like conservatism and nationalism, old school liberalism with a nationalist bent, are becoming popular, and they're lamenting that fact because it goes completely against what the left want. And it's a very, very, this is why every time that someone wins an election like this, it's a very, very good thing. Now, Australia hasn't quite caught up to that yet, I think, because we haven't really.
To God, we do.
Well, I mean, I hope it doesn't come to that, because I hope it doesn't get that bad.
Oh, agreed. Agreed.
I think the fact that immigration's so high here, it may come, a party that goes on a big anti-immigration, or not, a big let's cut immigration platform, I think is going to do well, which is why I think One Nation are actually going to do decently well at the next election. I don't know if they'll win lower house seats, but they should win upper house seats, because I don't think none of the major parties are really talking about it. I'm going to be talking about the Greens a little bit more in my live stream tomorrow for everyone. Tune in. XYZ live stream is tomorrow. Just that for everyone who's watching now. Tonight, because my co-host, Dave Hiscox, editor of XYZ, couldn't make it tonight. We've pushed the XYZ live stream to tomorrow. So all the topics that we were going to talk about that for tonight is going to be tomorrow night. And I just got a ring in. Unfortunately, it was LDR, but I'll try and get a good one next time. But yeah, so it's no, you're lovely. Mate, I might get you onto the XYZ live stream.
Your subscribers are going to hate you for being mean to me. No, I'm sure they won't.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure they don't give a shit at all.
That's great entertainment. Yeah, so
well, there's an article here that pops up from The Guardian. Hungary's liberals brace for a torrid 4 years after Orban's landslide. So just the mainstream media is already sort of posing it as a Trump type victory, like, oh no type of thing. So that's already disingenuous.
Yeah, sorry, I was responding to chats.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, good point. Whatever you said there. Neeks just responded to me. She just sent me a text. She's laughing. She's laughing that I gave her a mention, so she thought that was pretty funny. I might get her on the live stream one day. It'll be a more fun one. Maybe I'll put it on the kids' channel because it would be a little bit. It wouldn't be politics based. But yeah, so let's have a look. So someone's just mentioned far right equals common sense. Well, I mean, it depends on what you define far right as. Now, the Venom, when they say far right, it's like Venom Eagle said far right is anyone not anti-white. Yeah, that's probably a fair description of what the left mean when they say far right. I think it's anyone that they see as not. It's actually anyone that isn't of the fashionably left-in crowd. That's really all it means when they say far right. And the left have gone so far to the left that they're even calling fellow leftists far right now. And I think they're really starting to alienate. They're really starting to alienate people quite a lot.
It's good. It's great. Fabulous.
It's really good because I think people are really waking up, especially because of YouTube and social media and all that kind of stuff. YouTube's the big one because YouTube gives people a chance to articulate their ideas. Like when you're on Twitter and Facebook, it just gets people angry because it's all type. Ah! But when it's on YouTube and when it's on YouTube and on video, you need to be able to articulate your ideas on YouTube, which is why the best ideas tend to rise to the top, which is why you get guys like Stephen Crowder who get over a million subscribers.
Yeah.
Same with Paul Joseph Watson, who you're never going to marry, but you can dream. But all these people, they're very articulate, and you have to be articulate on YouTube to do well, and you have to have actually thought about your ideas, which is a good thing, and it gives people a chance to express these ideas. And when someone hears a good idea, they might tell their friend also, and it makes it spread around quite quickly. So I think people are really starting to wake up to the left. I think the left are polarizing themselves out of existence, and I really hope that article that we were talking about with Jack's CEO. What I got out of that was it was a lot of projection. A lot of projection. I think the left are really worried that they're going to become irrelevant in the next sort of 10 to 20 years. And
I think they have very good reason to think that. And
they should think that because especially with Gen Z coming through and using the internet and getting their ideas on the internet, I believe I think this far left social justice moral panic is sort of gonna die eventually, but hopefully
last. Yeah.
It can't last. It's too negative. It's too people don't like that kind of thing in the long run. And like we said earlier, like we said earlier, it's like it's really hell. It's a hell that they're in. Can you imagine being a leftist? Can you imagine what that would be like? That just the constant anger and the constant feeling like you're being attacked by the world and the constant feeling that you're always oppressed. And I mean, I should mention guys like Jordan Peterson. I think he's probably changed the world more than anyone else in the world in the last sort of 10, 20, 30 years.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Because he's come out and he's given such a message of positivity, and he's done that where the left have attacked him and he hasn't apologized. He's doubled down and it's worked, and he's come off and now the world loves him, other than a few people that hate him. And guys like him, you know, getting back to us saying also about being able to articulate ideas, guys like him really are pushing the world towards what I hope to be a better future. The big threat is the fact that the culture hasn't changed enough yet, and the people in power are still really bad people. There's still a lot of really bad people. There's still a lot of warmongers in power around the world. There's still a lot of people who want to incite violence. There's people who are writing articles that CEOs of social media companies are sharing, and then in these articles they're basically saying they want to wipe out their political opposition. So we're still getting this kind of thing, and unfortunately, I don't trust the people at the reins of power at the moment all that much, and I'm really hoping that we can get through this paradigm shift relatively unscathed. That I don't know. I'm really hoping we don't go into World War III, because obviously that would be a complete disaster. We'd all die.
That's going to happen soon. I mean, not soon, but there has to be a World War III.
No, there doesn't. There doesn't have to be a World War III at all. That's so fatalistic.
Islam.
No, not necessarily. I think.
Well, I hope I'm wrong.
I hope not. Yeah.
I don't want to be right. I just sort of get that. I think it's inevitable. That's all.
It could be if there was some sort of civil conflict, if there was some sort of world war. I mean, you'd really, I mean, to look at it a positive way, like to hope for the best. If it was to happen, what you'd want it to be is sort of confined to individual nations. So individual civil conflicts around the world. So so long as any major conflict doesn't go nuclear, then the world will be able to recover from it. But if it goes, I think personally, we'd actually in the long run be able to recover from a nuclear war. In the very, very long run, but although, I mean, I've seen other articles where it's
Why do you say that?
The entire world would be destroyed.
Because
I don't know. I think that there would be people that would survive. I genuinely believe that there would be people that would survive.
They'd give birth to beautiful mutant babies.
Beautiful mutant babies. But I'm an optimist, so that's who I am. And
you're an idealist.
An idealist, an optimist. And I really don't want that to happen. I would really not like any kind of conflict to happen. But the way the left, because the left are in power, because the left hold the reins of power and they control the mainstream narrative for now, you can really, and they're losing that narrative. Like there's not much more dangerous. There's not much more dangerous than a cornered tyrant, because, you know, as they lose their power, they're like drug addicts, you know, they're losing their power, and they might do something a little bit crazy. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that before we finish up?
On what specifically?
On anything.
Well, someone wrote in your comment section that Paul Joseph Watson is gay. I'm not sure if that's true.
Well, Paul Joseph, okay, I don't think that's true, but maybe.
No, I've had a
Jamie mentioned game theory. I've got a video coming out about game theory. I'm going to probably release it at the end of the week.
Who is Dan Andrews?
Who is Dan Andrews?
Thoughts on Dan Andrews?
You don't even know who Dan Andrews is. You're a political commentator from Melbourne who doesn't even know who Dan Andrews is.
Nah.
Don't tell her who Dan Andrews is.
I can look it up. My God, I have a computer right in front of me.
You'll look it up, and you're going to feel like such an idiot.
Wow, you're really, really selling me to your audience.
She's actually not stupid either.
Oh yeah, now he's an Australian politician who is the 48th Premier of Victoria. Yeah, I don't really care about this man.
Yeah, well, he's the premier of the state that you live in, so you really should know who Dan Andrews is.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, so, I mean, okay, I'll tell you what my thoughts on Dan Andrews are. My thoughts on Dan Andrews is that he's a snake. He's a complete snake. Wouldn't surprise me if he was genuinely corrupt. I think people in Victoria, so Victorians will know that Dan Andrews, his MPs. Are you talking to yourself? Who are you talking to there?
Sorry, keep talking.
Yeah, so Dan Andrews is the Premier of Victoria, and he won the election. A whole lot of his MPs were caught out taking taxpayer money to help them get elected and to help them campaign during the election. And then he basically then spent millions of taxpayer dollars stopping that investigation. So they were being investigated for committing what essentially amounts to electoral fraud, and then he spent millions of taxpayer dollars trying to stop this investigation from going forward and just stop the information coming out. And then when it came out, he's just like, oh yeah, we'll just pay the money back. We'll just pay that money back and pretend that it all goes nowhere. And I mean, the mainstream media haven't held him to account. The guy should have resigned. The guy has no honor. He shouldn't be PM. He shouldn't be premier right now. He should resign. They should really be holding another election very, very soon, because
I don't know anything about this man, but nothing I'm reading really. He's pretty vanilla.
Horrendous. He's horrendous. He got into power not only by using taxpayer money to campaign for ALP MPs to campaign. He told everyone that the East-West Link wasn't going to be worth the money the East-West Link contracts weren't worth the paper they were printed on. So East-West Link, for anyone who doesn't know, is a freeway that was going to connect the east part of Melbourne to the west part of Melbourne, as per East-West Link, in order to stop traffic. Yeah. The previous government had it all ready to go. The contracts were signed, contracts were in place. They were about to start construction. The election happened. Dan Andrews said, no, they're not worth it. We can get rid of this thing. Won't cost us anything. It'll be fine. Da, 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 da. This is what he told people when he was campaigning. Gets into power, ends up paying $1 billion to essentially not build a road. And then after that, goes and builds a whole lot of other roads on the west, conveniently in ALP seats. So he is an absolute
hack.
He's a hack. He's scum.
He's a partisan hack.
A partisan hack is just someone who is always on their own political party. He's just not fit for any kind of office, like most members of the ALP or the Australian Labor Party. He's unfit for any kind of office. And then also he's tried to fine Milo Yiannopoulos $50,000 for people who were protesting against him. So protesters came to protest against Milo. So Milo needed the police presence because these protesters were getting violent, and then he's tried to charge Milo $50,000.
I did know about the fine. I just didn't click. Yeah, I actually don't know anything about my state. I know more about like American politics at large. Just to clarify to your audience, because
so that's all Dick Ears Dan. He's Dick Ears Dan Andrews. That's what I call him. He's got big, giant, floppy dick ears, and he's a typical ALP politician. Just, career politician, never done anything valuable with his life. I'm pretty sure it was like a former unionist. I don't know.
Don't vote career politicians ever. That's why Dr. Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina would have been great presidents, because they're not career politicians. That's just my personal opinion.
So someone also mentioned he's a safe schools pushing snake. Yes, Dan Andrews is pushing all the
masturbation that they're teaching children. So stupid.
Ian said that the Australian claimed he's going to win the next election.
Let's hope he doesn't. If everything you're saying about him is true.
The Australian had a poll, I believe, last month, a state poll that had him ahead 51-49. But that came in conjunction with two other polls, one that had him behind and one that had him even. So. And that was all before the corruption scandal and, the basically using taxpayer money for votes, which might not even hurt him all that much, considering just how messed up our electorate is at the moment. Seemingly they'll just forgive what is flat out corruption. So no, I don't like Dan Andrews one bit. I think the guy is unfit for office. I genuinely think he should probably be in a prison cell, although I have no evidence to prove cause to put him in a prison cell. But I would imagine, in my opinion, he's probably done plenty of things that would warrant it, just based on his actions and the way that he operates.
And I have no opinion, because I don't even know who the man is or anything.
Yes, even though you are from Melbourne. Yeah. And he is the premier of your state.
Yep. Don't know anything about him. Don't give a shit about him. I don't study Melbourne Victorian politicians. I care about the bigger ones.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm just going to have a look through chat, see if there's anyone.
Go for it.
Someone, so Dylan Holmes enjoyed my video on the South African farmers. Thank you very much, Dylan. That is by far easily my most popular video. It's my first video to get to 10,000 views, which I was pretty happy with. Just seemed to work. Let's have a look. Jamie Jameson, my mate. He's pretty slack-jawed. Andrews would drink with. Okay. Also, is there ever a time Labor doesn't do that? Well, I don't know what you're talking about, Jamie. Mr. Jameson, absolute hostage, mate. Tim, you reckon you could write in English just for once for us, just in nice clear English? Love you, bro, but I mean you're not making any sense. Mate, check his Twitter. He is gay. Ha 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 ha. Don't know who you're talking about either.
I think he's talking about Paul Joseph Watson.
Yeah, that's what I think he might be talking about. He could be.
He might be. It's just not obvious. Yeah. If that was actually proper true, it would have gone global by now. People would have latched onto that.
Well, you said that he was going to be maybe dating roaming millennial. Maybe roaming millennial that's as hot as he needs to not be gay.
Maybe.
Because as far as I can tell, she's a 10.
She's a 10.
Oh yeah. She's got the looks and she's got the charisma, which makes her a 10.
And she's intelligent, very much.
Yes, exactly. Someone said they liked my video exposing the Greens' communist values. Thank you very much. Here's the thing. It's funny you say exposing, but all I did was go and have a look at their policies and compare them to actual communists. And it was like, oh, well, this is pretty obvious. They're obviously communists.
Yeah, that was a good video.
Thanks. Did you share that one?
No. I watched it though.
Okay, good work. Did you like comment?
I liked it. I don't think I commented.
That's fine. You don't have to comment. For people who are in the chat right now, just remember, if you do want to get notification for when we're going live, you have to click the bell. It is the thing now. The bell is a requirement if you want to get notifications.
Unless I unbell you.
Oh yeah, you got to watch out for being unbelled. So I mean, we're going for just over an hour, which is my standard live stream time. Any last questions or any last thoughts from anyone? Before we call it a night. Don't forget, we will be back here tomorrow. I'll be back here with David Hiscox to discuss all the issues of the day, or a few more issues of the day, I should say. We'll be talking about Turnbull's news poll and a couple of other things. But yeah, if anyone else wants to add any questions that we can answer before the end, I'm more than happy to do it. I want to know what Eldia's real name is, actually.
I'm not going to tell you.
Why not?
Because I don't trust you.
You don't trust me with your real name?
Nope.
See, I trust you with my real name, Maddie.
Well, my name is Dia.
Dia. So your name is Day.
My name is Dia.
Okay.
What is your last name?
Not telling.
Why?
It's Rose.
That's beautiful.
Thanks. Would you like a rose?
Not particularly.
It's all right. I wasn't going to give you one. They're too expensive.
And they hurt. They have thorns. No one's writing any more questions.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Will the Bombers win the 2018 flag? No.
I can't answer that.
Dumb question. Ian,
I don't speak sport.
Will the Bombers win the 2018 flag? The answer is no. And I hope that they don't win the flag, because they'll look like an absolute fool, but no, they won't win. They're not going to win the flag. I think Richmond are looking really good this year. I think Cineal and GWS are both looking pretty good as well. And Devolution wants to know if you're single, Dia.
I think that's blatantly obvious with the amount of times I've spoken about Paul Joseph Watson. Yes. And
as far as I'd be surprised, yeah, of course, obviously she's single. I mean, would you honestly know a guy that would hang out with that for any length of time and not go absolutely mental?
You're talking about me?
Yes.
Why would they go mental? Why are you being so mean to me? Our very first chat, you were like, it doesn't matter.
What was that? No, I'm just teasing you. I'd marry you in a second, Dia. I don't know why you're single. I would marry you so quickly. I'd be like, wow, let's just get straight up the aisle and have.
No, see, now you're just trying to butter me up because you know that you've been pretty nasty to me this chat, but I've been a very good sport.
Well, maybe you shouldn't be calling me the B word every other day in Twitter chats.
The B word? What, bitch?
Yes, bitch.
I also call you princess. So I don't see how.
And you call me princess. So excuse me, but I'm going to get my own back on the live streams. Thank you very much.
See how that's offensive. That's funny. It's entertaining. Well, to me anyway. See? Be nice. They want you to be nice. Someone asked you to be nice to me.
No, I know that person in real life, and he's just being silly.
Okay.
They don't know. I'm not. I can't be nice to you.
Someone's written a question. Dylan Holmes.
Dylan Holmes. It feels like there is some global rise of communism, socialism in Western society.
He's not
Do you
wrong.
think that's the case? Yeah, there is definitely a rise of globalism, of socialism and communism, especially
socialism.
Socialism is the same thing. So you see things like Antifa, Antifa violence, and a lot of the media are really pushing it as well. And Dylan, you mentioned South Africa. Yeah, that's getting pushed through in South Africa quite well. Now, It's actually it's a question I'd really like to be able to get into between socialists. Yeah, the Socialist Alliance are getting a little bit more active in Australia. Like they're doing a lot of more protests. They
gave me this. They gave me this at the Israel rally.
Yeah, they're extremely they're getting quite active. I mean, Dan Andrews, as we mentioned before, he's an outright socialist. The Greens are basically pushing communism. There's definitely a rise of socialism in the world. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn's an out and proud socialist advocate and all that kind of thing. Again, it's something I'd like to talk about this more. So if you want to come and ask the question again tomorrow night, I'll definitely I'll be able to go a little bit more into it.
The answer is anarchism.
The answer to that is yes, there is definitely quite a rise of it. And it's something that I will talk about in the future in depth. Most definitely, because it's something that needs to be spoken about a lot more. Jamie Jameson asked about thoughts on the midterms. Will those anti-gun kids accidentally get Republicans back in the second amendment hardline scared? It's a good question. Yeah. I think it's a way to get the base really worried about what would happen with the Democrats. I mean, Paul Joseph Watson did a video about it as well, in that he said, don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. It's the single biggest losing issue for the Democrats in America. I wish it was the same in Australia. Wish we still had our guns, but for self-defense, obviously, and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I think it could actually energize the Republican base and get them out to vote, because a lot of the issue with the midterms is turnout. I think they get a very, very low turnout for midterm elections in a lot of cases, and if the Republicans feel like their guns are threatened, then they're a lot more likely to get out. But as always, I mean, I'm not an expert on American politics. I do.
That's more my field. That's more my field, which is why I know shit all about Australia, or at least about Victoria.
Okay, well, maybe we can get you on in the future when it's a more American-based live stream topic. That might actually work out.
Well, today was all about the left anyway, so it kind of worked.
Yes, and your love for Paul Joseph Watson.
But he's gay.
Apparently. I don't think he's gay.
Well, I think the reason people say that is because no one's ever seen him in his private life. It's like you don't see Milo Yiannopoulos' partner. You only see like the back of his head or his hand. You only see, like, you don't even see Ben Shapiro's wife, and like there are many of these people you don't see. I think
you can see Ben Shapiro's wife. You just Google it.
Oh, I haven't. Yeah, you're probably right. I haven't thought to look.
She's anyway. All right. Like, she's relatively pretty.
Yeah.
They go well. They're a nice couple. She's really smart. She's a lawyer. They have 2 kids, I believe.
She's a doctor.
A doctor.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah. So they're going to have genius kids, obviously.
The Jews are smart.
Yes. Thoughts on the Melbourne Marxist Conference? Individual Unknown just said, well, I mean, they're entitled to meet and have a conference. But the thing is, they tend to get quite militant. I actually think, honestly, this is something, I mean, obviously I'm a free speech absolutist in terms of freedom of expression. But when it comes to advocating violence, I'm completely against it, and I think we actually need to take a little bit more hard line when it comes to advocating in violence and advocating of violent revolution, which a lot of these Marxism advocates actually do advocate, and they advocate it openly. And the thing is, we really need to be cracking down on people that are doing that, because it ceases to become free speech when it's advocating violence. When someone says we need to overthrow the state violently, that's not free speech anymore. That's not an opinion anymore. That's a call to action. The source. That's a call to action, and it's certain other, and we can probably maybe talk about it another time as well. I think there are certain things you can do with other ideologies, and other systems and all that kind of thing, where you can actually cut them off at the source without violating the right to free speech, because they are incitement to violence. It's really important. Once you make that line, incitement to violence is not okay. Obviously, you can't defame people and you can't commit fraud. That's what they're your limits on speech. So don't defame people, don't incite violence, don't call to action for violence, and don't commit fraud. So don't tell lies in order to gain financially or sexually or whatever. Yeah. But so the line's very, very clear. And if people cross that line, as left often do, and as other ideologies often do, you really should be saying, no, you can't do that. Instead, we're on the back foot trying to defend ourselves against people trying to silence us for mean tweets. Now, one thing that We'll finish up on this. Blair Cottrell made a video yesterday that he put on Twitter and Facebook where he said the way that you beat the left in terms of when they call you names like racist and all that kind of thing is when they call you that, first of all, you try and ignore them, firstly. This is what I was saying to you before with the people commenting. You ignore them as best you can, but if you have to engage them, never, ever explain yourself. Never say, I'm not a racist. That's ridiculous. I'm not a racist because
then you're falling into a trap.
Then you're falling into their trap. Never explain yourself. What you need to do is to go on the front foot and say, well, you're a rape apologist, or you're a supporter of murder, or whether you're a supporter of violence, or you just whatever they are, you go on the back foot because a lot of them are these things. A lot of them, I mean, the people who are covering up for the Telford gangs, those Telford gangs are essentially rape apologists. They are pedophilia apologists. They are defending this. So you go straight on the front foot and you attack them straight back. And that's how you win. You never apologize, always double down when it comes to ideological battles with leftists. Never apologize, always double down, which is the topic of that video, which is done really well, which I'm glad it's done well because of that. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Marxist Stratocaster issue. Someone asked Stratocaster or Les Paul. I actually have a Stratocaster, Steve. My dad got me a Stratocaster, and I've still got it. I need to get new strings though. The strings are rusted because I haven't used it for a while.
The whole Marxist subject is actually a very big subject.
Yeah, it's a big subject. Or maybe we can make that a topic for another live stream in the future as well. But I'm getting quite tired now. It's getting late.
No worries, absolutely.
And I've been talking so much, and I'm starting to lose my voice.
Well, I stopped answering questions because you told me not to, so that's why I just stayed quiet for the last 45 minutes.
You were allowed to speak to me, just not my chat. That's all. You're getting see, guys. This is why you've got to avoid going out with Latinas, because if you think white chicks are crazy, if you think going out with Australian girls, if you think that's bad,
I'm Australian. I'm a first-generation Australian. I was born here.
Yes. But they're lovely. We love them all, don't we? We love white girls. We love Latina girls. You just got to know what you're getting into.
I like the movie White Chicks.
It's a racist film.
It is. It's okay for black men to do whiteface, but not white men to do blackface. Anyway,
really great chat, Dia Opina. Dia Opina.
Thanks for having me.
Dia Opina, the Latina chica.
Thanks for having me, everyone.
No worries. I really hope you enjoyed it. Tune in tomorrow night again. We'll be talking about everything with Dave Hiscox. Might be a little bit more serious. A little bit more in-depth commentary. But LD is great. We love her. And I'll see you when I see you.
Ta-ta.